This Transformers 96 here, so the very review. This time we have the Captain America, the Winter Soldier Hot Toys Winter Soldier figure, so here you are. So overall the box is quite nice, falls in suit with the Black Widow and Golden Age Captain America box. Nothing too special though as far as design. You get a nice picture of the character, not the figure, and then some neat little artwork in the back, nothing too extreme though, and it's just a pretty simple shoebox style of packaging. Overall, not the greatest packaging you've ever seen, but certainly not terrible. But yeah, the real star of this set though is of course the figure, so let's go on to that. Alright, here he is out of box, but before we go into the figure, let's go over his accessories. Alright, so in total you get 9 hands, 5 for his right side ungloved, and 4 for his left side metal gloved. And as you can see, quite cool, you get a decent amount of hands. Starting off with his kind of ungloved hands, you get a fist, you get a hand that's for holding the knife. It works pretty good. It's a little loose, I've found. The knife can slip out of his hands fairly easily. I would have liked that to be a tighter grip. Unfortunately, it's not though. You get one trigger finger, you get a relaxed palm, and then an open spread hand. On the other side, you get a fist. You get 2 trigger fingers. One is more for the rifle, the M16 I believe it is, and then the other one is for just the other smaller pistols and stuff like that. Yeah, I believe one's for the bigger guns, one's for the smaller guns, which is kind of odd that they give you that choice over here but not over here. I'm not quite sure what that's about. And then you get one that's for holding the shield, or you can kind of like slide a knife in between his fingers. So a kind of an odd hand, but one that's pretty decent. Overall, I think that the hands are a little lacking, not in detail or anything, just in the amount of hands that you get. I would have loved to get a metal hand that is meant for holding the knife. As well as I think that they could have, I would have liked a spread hand over here, and maybe a hand that's kind of like this over here. Well, that's not 100% necessary, but it would have been kind of cool to get him to be able to hold some of the smaller knife that is like on a ring. That would have been nice if he could hold that in the other hand too. I just feel like I keep trying to give him a knife in his metal arm, and I just can't. And the same thing goes on the other side as far as some other accessories. So I feel like he's a little lacking on the amount of hands that you get. But overall, the hands that you do get are quite nice and are pretty decent. The hand that holds the shield doesn't hold it perfectly. It'll stay in his hand, but it'll just kind of lean down. It's not straight up, like he should be if he just grabbed it. So it's not the best sculpted hand. I would have liked, instead of this, just to get this style of hand, but attached to a shield. That would have been pretty cool. But other than that, I think this is quite nice. Maybe as an exclusive. That would have been really awesome if they did that as an exclusive. But unfortunately I didn't, but not a huge deal. Overall, decent amount of hands. Alright, he does come with the standard base. Now this is something that I'm very happy to see, believe it or not, because just so many, I think that it's been a good 3 or 4 Hot Toys figures that I've bought, from Sideshow, new figures that I've not gotten this base with. I have to say, this base is becoming somewhat rare. We're getting so many kind of display bases where there's environment on it, or it's the dynamic fight pose bases, which they're all well and good and nice, but I do like to get back to these type of bases because they give a more unified look to the Hot Toys, as well as they don't take up much space. So I'm very happy to see this, and it's unnecessary for him to come with any other base. So I'm really glad that they did stick with the classic base with this figure. Alright, this guy is not lacking on weapons. Here are the 2 of the bigger weapons that he comes with. This is the kind of fake but modern and realistic looking gun that shoots the little mine or the grenade that flips under Nick Fury's car and blows it up. Overall, really nice that they included this. I don't think it's 100% necessary because he doesn't use this other than the one scene where he flips the car, so there's not too many poses that you can put him in with this thing that would look too great in my opinion. But overall, I think it is quite nice. It's very well detailed. I believe this the scope does move, and this does extend on the back, which I do like. Although we never saw it in the movie, it is nice that it has that capability. As well as you can remove the bomb. It's really easy. It just is on a little square there on both sides, and it just slips in. Overall, it's a nice little bomb. I do like it a lot. He can hold this in this hand right here. you can get him to hold it. And overall, I think it is quite nice. It's a nice little bomb, and I'm happy that you're able to remove it, because that wasn't necessary, but they did it anyway. And then he comes with this a really great rifle. I'm not sure what type of rifle this is, M16, something like that, I believe. And overall, it has a couple different functions to it. It does have a stock that does extend and compress, of course, and then it does have an ammo pack that you can slip out. You can see the bullet in there, which is quite nice. And then the grenade launcher, you can move it up to give it that space where he's supposed to put in the grenades or whatever that is. And those grenades that he has are attachable to his belt, so you can actually pose him like putting in the grenade there, which I've done. It's very nice, and I do like that a lot. I believe you might be able to even slide this part off and just have it so that it doesn't have a grenade launcher. I'm not sure about that, though. Overall, this is a great weapon. This is definitely one that I find 100% necessary, because he used it in the movie, and it was pretty awesome when he used it in the movie, I have to say. So my favorite weapon is definitely going to be this weapon. It's definitely, he looks great with it and everything. So now, let's go over the smaller weapons. Alright, when it comes to like the medium-sized weapons here, you have this submachine gun, whatever you like to call it. I don't know, the exact term for it. Overall, it is quite nice. He does use this in the freeway battle when he's fighting Captain America. After he rolls off the car, he does take this off of his back and start shooting it at him. It runs out of bullets really fast and ends up throwing it, so he doesn't do much with it, but it is still nice to have it, especially since it does clip on his back and gives you that complete look with all the weapons on there. It does have some capability. You can move that forward and see the bullet inside of there, which is cool. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think that that's detachable. I think that that's in place. You might be able to pull this down. I'm not sure, though. These are, just so small that I don't feel like trying to rip out the bullets. I don't think you can, but overall, I do like the fact that you can open it up. You can have him looking in there like he's checking the ammo that's left, and I think that is quite nice. So overall, this is a nice little submachine gun. It's nice, nice weapon for sure. So now let's go over some of these smaller ones. Alright, as the smaller weapons go, he is definitely well stocked. As you can see, 3 pistols, 3 knives. You get 2 larger knives, which look quite nice. They've got serrated edges down there as well, and black handles. They look very good and realistic. And you get 2 of those. Then you get 1 smaller kind of dagger that that has a loop on it, so that he can kind of loop it around his finger. He uses all the knives in the movie. As far as the guns, I'm not quite sure how many guns he uses. I know that he uses at least 1 of these pistols. I'm not quite sure about the other 2 pistols. All the other guns that you get, the bigger ones, he does use in the movie, though. But yeah, you get a regular size pistol, which is quite nice. It does have the capability to go back, like he's just fired or it's just out of bullets. And you can pull out the ammo clip, I believe. But it's a little hard to get to, so I'm not going to pull that out right now. Oops. Then you get a medium-sized one, which is quite nice. It's got like 4 barrels on it. It looks really cool. Let's focus on this. Oh, it's taking forever, folks. There we go. And it's very nice. It's chrome or a really bright silver. I do like that a lot. And you can open it, and you can see where he would put in the full 4 bullets. Very nice. I think it's a really unique weapon. I certainly haven't seen this weapon in real life, but I believe that it's a real gun. And then you get this incredibly small one. I guess that this is for real emergency moments. And it's got 2 barrels on it. Let's focus. There we go. It's got 2 barrels on it, very small, looking pretty cool. This one doesn't do anything. Overall, it is nice. I can't imagine that he'd look good holding this one, I have to say, because it's just so small. It would just look a little silly. But the others are all really nice, and they do attach on him, so let me show you that. Alright, so here's all the weapons that you can attach on him. So as you can see, on his right thigh, you can put the small and the medium pistols on there, as well as the knife with the little loop on it. As you do get a grenade that can slip right into one of the holsters on his belt, as well as you get a double knife holster, which both of the bigger knives can go into. On the other side, you get another grenade, of course, and his regular and large pistol. And then on his back, way up here, you get the kind of submachine gun type of I don't know what you'd call it, but a small machine gun, you know, better than a pistol, not as good as a full one though, but overall really nice. I'm really glad that you can attach all of these. I think it's quite great. Every review that I've seen of this guy, they say that the weapons, the guns don't stay in very well, that when you just have him posed like this, he's fine, but when you mess with them, they fall out. That hasn't been the case with mine too much. I mean, I haven't had the guns in there that much. Really, when I got this guy the first night, I posed him, did a bunch of stuff, and then when I went to put him on my shelf, that's when I attached everything. And then since I started doing this review, I've moved them around, and they haven't fallen off, so maybe like later they will start to fall off, but right now it is not the case. One thing that is to mention is over here, this little metal piece right here, the thin one, that was like really bent in with mine. And you know, I was worried that it was broken, but I really just bent it right back and it just went right back in place. So these might be kind of a more fragile little clips there, so I'd be careful with those. I think that they will bend easy if you put force into them, and they might even come to you a little bent just like mine was. But other than that, they're in good condition. I do like the way that you can store all of his weapons on him, and it makes him look really great and really weaponed out, really nice. Alright, now to go on to his alternate head, but before we do that, as you can see here, he is holding a couple of the pistols. With his middle arm, he's holding the medium-sized 4-barrel one, which I think does look quite nice. And then with his regular hand, he is holding the standard-size pistol. Overall, they look pretty cool. I mean, when you have the big rifle, that one just looks amazing, so it's hard to give him these and actually think they look good, I have to say. But they are still very cool, and definitely nice that they did include them. But going over the mask face, overall I really do like it a lot. Now this was something that when I first put on pre-order, I expected to have him wear this because he looked more like a villain, he looked more menacing with it, which I did like a lot. And but then right before this guy came out, right before I got it at least, all the people that I watched who reviewed him said that they liked the other head sculpt better and they were leaving that one on for sure. It wasn't even a question, so that kind of worried me. Getting it in person though, I have to say, I like the mask a lot, and I'm personally going to leave him with the mask, at least for now, just because I haven't displayed with my villains, and with the villains I think the mask definitely fits a little better. But if you have him just displayed with like Captain America, the Sebastian head sculpt does work better for that, I think, or the Bucky works better for that. Going over the mask though looks really great. I'll go over the hair and everything really in full detail when I go over his regular face sculpt. But the mask does look really nice. It looks quite realistic. Love the shiny goggles, and it just looks great. And you can remove the goggles to have him where he just has the mask, but you can still see his eyes. So let me do that for you now. What's really nice is he does have removable hair to put on the goggles, which I think is really great. I would have liked if they did the same thing with the regular head sculpt one, because sometimes it is quite hard to switch out the heads, and I think that when you don't have the hair on, it makes it a lot easier to do so. So it would have been a lot better if they included the same gimmick of taking off the hair with the other head sculpt, but they didn't, unfortunately. But as you can see, just a magnet at the bottom there, and a magnet on top of his head. You just slide that back on, and boom, there you go. And it looks great. It's very seamless, so it's not like you notice it or anything. I think it looks very good. Overall, he looks nice this way, but really, I don't see many people displaying him like this. What I would think is that most people would either just want the full out, Bucky head sculpt, or they'd want the full out, Winter Soldier mask with the goggles. I doubt many people would do the kind of half and half, but overall, it does look good. As you can see, there isn't any eye makeup here, while on the other one, there is eye makeup. Now, this is something that I noticed when I was watching this movie in the theater, because I saw it a ton of times in the theater, and when I went, after this guy went on pre-order, I went and I specifically paid attention to this, and I did it a couple times to make sure, and the eye makeup he only wears in one scene, which is when he catches the shield. That's the only time he has eye makeup on. He might have it on when he's talking to the Pierce, the Hydra agent Pierce, when he's sitting in his house and it's in the dark and you can barely see his face. He might have it on then too, but the only time that we really clearly see him with the eye makeup on is when he catches the shield, and when he catches the shield, he's wearing this mask. So here is where he should have the eye makeup actually, but he doesn't, because the only other time that he's like this is right when he slips off his glasses on the freeway battle. So this, with this this head sculpt. It's fine that he doesn't have the eye makeup here, but the other head sculpt with the eye makeup is actually not accurate, I have to say, which is unfortunate. But overall, this is a great head sculpt. Let's switch on over to the other one, and we'll talk about that. Alright, so here we have the Bucky head sculpt, as you can see, looking great. Now, everybody is saying that they love this one much more than the mask one. I have to agree. I mean, as far as quality goes, I really do love this one. Not to say that I don't like the one with the full-on mask and goggles, but this is definitely the more interesting face piece, at least, because you do have an actor in there, and as you can see, they captured his likeness with pristine precision, I have to say, because it just looks perfect. I love the hair. Just, they really did a great job with the hair. Sometimes with long-haired figures, you know, it can be a little, you know, who knows, because, you know, hair as plastic looks a little strange, more strange than the face. You can't really notice that the face is like plastic, but hair, obviously, you can. So you'd think that the long-haired figures would have the better chance of not looking as good, but this one looks fantastic. Absolutely love it. The hair sculpt doesn't really get in the way. He's got quite a long neck joint, which allows him to really be able to maneuver his head so that his hair is not in the collar or in the way of the collar or anything like that, so you can get some great head articulation. Just gotta make sure that you put the collar kind of inside his I don't know what you'd call it, but his like circle of hair. You gotta make sure that the collar's in there so it's not like bending the collar or anything. But as you can see, it looks wonderful. Like I was saying, the eye makeup, he should not have this on, because if he had this on without the mask, it was in that dark room with Pierce, and who really cares about that? You want the best representation of Bucky, and he should not have this on, because in any scene where you could actually like see him, he did not have this makeup on, except when he catches the shield and possibly when he's talking to Pierce. So this is definitely something that's not accurate, which I have to say is a shame. Now, that being said, it still looks really cool. I mean, I definitely like it a lot, but it's really if you're a preference of you want it to be completely accurate or you want it to just look cool. And this does look cool, because there was that scene in the on the poster when he's holding the sniper and he has the eye makeup on. So on the poster, I mean, he does wear it. So overall, very cool. I definitely like it a lot. Personally, I think that you should display it with whichever head sculpt you're going to have him displayed. You should display the head sculpt that you think would fit best with your display. Because I'm displaying him with my villains, like I said, and therefore I think the mask one fits a little better with the villains. But if you're having him displayed with Captain America and then maybe Hawkeye, Falcon, who's coming out, you know, in just like a month or two, then I would say to leave the mask off, because I think it might fit a little better with them. But overall, this is a really great representation of the character and actor. I had to say, it's quite wonderful. Now, that was quite a long talking about the head sculpts. I felt like they needed to be talked about a bit long. So now going over the actual clothing and everything, it's very nice. You do have a nice, you know, leather look on his vest here. Overall looks quite nice. As you can see, he has all these little straps. Now, again, like I said, with every review I watch, they're missing some button. One button pops off either during the review or before the review, and the buttons I'm talking about are the ones on these little straps. So those are very fragile, as well as he does come with like 2 spares. So they know that it's gonna pop off. So it's definitely a shame. One has popped out on one of my straps. Luckily, it was the best one possible, because it's the one hidden by the little vest, but right there should be a button, and it's not. But the little vest covers it, so I really don't care too much, because it's, you know, it's covered and it's not bad. But this does seem to be a problem, and Hot Toys obviously knew about the problem, so it would have been nice if they did secure those buttons a little better, or just did something to make them, you know, stick a little better, or just put them on a different way or something. That would have been quite nice. When you get to the arm right here, one thing I don't like are these little threads sticking out from the little strap. You know, it's not a big deal. It's just something that whenever I see it, I for a second think, oh no, the threading's coming undone. But then I realize it's just a stupid little strap there. I wish that could have been trimmed. That's an easy fix though, and you know, I'll cut them when I get a chance. But overall, it is just a little annoying. It's nothing too big though. The the costume is really nice. I mean, it's a very thin feeling of fabric, which I really liked because I really expected him to not have much movement in his right arm. I thought that all my poses I was going to be using the left arm because the right arm would be hindered by the clothing, and it's really not, which I think is beautiful. As you can see here, we have a double hinge elbow with this arm here, and it's wearing a leather clothing, and it goes perfectly. They really made it so that it really doesn't restrict you, which I love. You do get the bicep swivel, of course, and the arm going up and down. You do get all the motion of the hand, which is just beautiful. The only thing that I don't like is because of the strap here and the clothing that gets bunched up right there, his arm doesn't really settle on his side. Like, that's as far in as it goes. Just go back so you can get a better look. So like I'm saying, you can't push it in so that it's at a more natural kind of stance if you just have him standing straight up and down. If you have him in a pose, this isn't a problem, but if you don't have him in a pose and you just want him in a nice natural standing up and down position, then this is definitely something that's a little infuriating, but nothing too terrible, I have to say. The metal arm is quite nice. It kind of, you got to be careful. You don't want to be, crushing the clothing and the belt in every time that you put his arm down, which is a shame because they do kind of want to get into that joint, which is kind of annoying. You get kind of like a crush type of look in here because when the arm's down, it does kind of crush that stuff. Unfortunately, not the biggest deal though. You can see into his arm. Get some light there. You can see inside. Because he does have a ball joint not only on the shoulder, but inside his body he has another ball joint. So you can lower and raise his arm, which I think is quite nice. Very similar to a Silver Century on Iron Man has the same type of joint. It's a really great joint. It's not 100% necessary for this figure I found, but it's certainly not a bad thing to have. It's definitely great to have some more articulation. That helps a bit, which I think is good. He's got a hinge swivel elbow here, which I think is quite nice. Of course, I would have much preferred a double joint, but the double joint doesn't look as good as the hinge swivel, so I understand why they did it. It does say in the instructions, if you're going to rotate his arm, make sure that his arm is extended like this and not up, because when it's fully like this, when you try to rotate it, it does say that the paint can get chipped. The joint is extremely stiff. Now, it's nice that it's not going to be loose and, falling out on you or anything like that, but it is super stiff that you can't just do it with one hand like you normally do. You gotta grip it with both hands to do it, which is a bit of an annoyance, but definitely something that I'd rather they do rather than allow it to just kind of to get loose or something like that. So that's not the worst thing. But like I'm saying, like this arm, you can have, it in a very natural kind of laying on his side position, while this side is just sticking out. You can't get it to lay flat, unfortunately. But that's nothing that's too terrible. Going down here to the pants. Overall, it's quite nice. It's a black, but they kind of washed in browns in it, which I think looks really nice. Very military-esque. I think it looks really good. There's just a lot of detail and quality in these pants and shirt and just everything. His military style of clothing is really represented nicely in this toy. Very nice. I like the boot a lot. And what's something that surprised me is the boot is a very soft kind of rubber, so you can use the joint in there. Now, I would hate for it to pop out of the joint and have to try to get his pants tucked in there again, so I'm not going to really mess with it. But if you wanted to, you can access a bit of that joint at least. If you don't get the whole thing, you'll get a bit at least. The knee pads are up a bit high to allow you to not restrict the double jointed knees. Overall, I don't mind that at all because you really don't notice that they're up too high. It's only when you bend the knee that you realize, oh, the knee joint is kind of down here while the knee pad is up here, but it's nothing that's bad whatsoever. I think it works fine and definitely fits in and makes the articulation better, which I think is important. So yeah. So now let's do some comparisons. So here you have him with Captain America, of course, and the first Captain America villain, which would be Red Skull, or Johann Schmidt. So yeah, so as you can see, he is quite nice. He does fit in with characters like the Red Skull. Not perfectly, of course, because they're from two different type of age periods, but they are both kind of villains and villains to Captain America. So he fits in with that very nicely, but he definitely fits in a lot better with Captain America himself. I think he looks very nice with him. I will be very interested to see how he looks alongside the new Captain America in the strike suit, as well as the just regular closed Captain America, which both of those should be coming in about a month, so I'll be excited to compare him with them. But for now, he looks really nice with your Avengers one, so if you don't plan on getting the new Captain America, just with the Avengers one, he does look quite nice, and that'll fit in very well. So overall, he is pretty decent, and height-wise, he's taller than Johann Schmidt. He is just a tad bit shorter than a Captain America, which I think is a pretty accurate size comparison. So overall, I think that they all look quite nice together. Your Captain America collection will look very good with this as a new addition. So overall, this Winter Soldier figure is very nice, I have to say. Accessory-wise, he comes with a ton of weapons, which is always fun, because they're not weapons that, oh, if he's not holding them, then you just have to put them back in the box. They're weapons that are quite versatile across your other figures. They're modern and realistic, and they're not, you know, fake and just specific to him. So you can give him these weapons to your other figures, as well as he does have places to hold most of his weapons on his body, which I think is fantastic. So a lot of these will get used, if not just for display on his thigh, but actually in his hand or in another figure's hand. So overall, I have to say I really do like the weapons. Wish that he came with a little bit more hands to allow him to more accurately hold some of the weapons, like the knives especially. I think that he needs a couple more hands, and definitely a knife or a knife holding hand for his metal arm, because I think that is quite necessary. Articulation wise, quite well in both of the arms, really not restricted. The neck has a good joint. When we go down to the legs, it's a little restrictive in the thigh area, but the knees and even the ankles get a bit of articulation. So overall, quite well articulated figure. You can put him in some dynamic poses. Not the best, of course, but in quite a few decent ones, I have to say. And overall, he does look great holding all the weapons, especially this big one. I think it looks pretty awesome with that. And you can put him in a lot of cool poses. You get two different heads. Really, the other head you really can't use for any sort of custom or anything, but it is nice to get two different heads that can go on this figure, so that you can really pick and choose your favorite type of look for him, as well as it keeps the figure fresh, because, you know, in a couple of months you might feel a little differently, want to change it out, see how it looks. I think that is quite nice. Quality issues, the buttons are a big pain, and something that a lot of people are complaining about, which I think is quite a shame, and they really shouldn't have let that go through. And then the other thing is, a lot of people are complaining that it's very hard to switch out the heads, and that is something that I really haven't had too much of a problem with. When I got them out of the box, I just went ahead and said, well, I'll try to put the mask on, and if I can't, I'll just wait until the review, and then I'll definitely put it on. But I was actually able to switch it out to the mask like right away. It wasn't very difficult, and I was quite happy. So then I thought, well, maybe I just got lucky there, and maybe putting on the regular face sculpt, because you can't remove the hair, maybe that'll be quite hard. So during this review, when I went to switch out the head, it was even easier, I have to say. So I don't know why everybody's complaining about it. Maybe I just got one that's just got kind of bigger neck holes, so, you know, it's easier to switch out or not. I'm not sure, but I got lucky, because I'm really not struggling changing out his head, which I think is quite nice. And the head sculpt, of course, is absolutely beautiful. Both of them are quite great, I have to say. Overall, a great figure. Character-wise, it's very nice, because he's a villain, but he's also kind of a sidekick, so you can kind of pick for people who enjoy just the heroes and some of the side heroes, then this is a great figure. And for the people who really just enjoy the villains, then this is a great figure. He's a very versatile figure that's not just in one movie. I'm sure we'll see him in the Civil War movie, and I hope that we see him in Captain America movies come to future. And definitely a figure that I think a lot of people are going to want, because he really does appeal to a lot of people. At least I think that he will. So overall, a great figure. Box, nothing too special, but the figure itself is quite nice, and I would definitely recommend it. So there you go. That's my very review of the Captain America the Winter Soldier Hot Toys Winter Soldier. Thanks so much for watching. Alright guys, I thought I'd show you really fast just where I keep my Hot Toys Winter Soldier. As you can see, I have him in a little villain shelf. The shelf is quite crowded. I mean, I don't have any shelf, and I've never had a shelf before with 5 Hot Toys on it. But overall, it's quite cool. I'm liking the villains I have on this shelf. I've got Red Skull, Johann Schmidt, the Mandarin, Loki, and now the Winter Soldier. Like I said, I do keep him with the mask on, but because I've had him with the mask on, like, since I opened him, you know, I figured that I might as well just wait to change out his head again, just so I can get a little bit more time seeing that that Bucky head sculpt, because it is quite great. So just want to give you a quick look at the end of this video, just of where I keep my Hot Toys Winter Soldier. So there you go. Thanks so much for watching.